should be good now. Thanks for bearing with me again. All right. So tons of different features. You don't need to be a designer to make your site look good. And we also have hundreds of templates that you can use for designing your site. So these are designed by our design team based in Tel Aviv. We have about 80 designers who are making these templates. New ones come out all the time. So you can really come out with a website in just a couple of hours. Just stick with a template and add your own images and text and things like that. And then in terms of features, if you need a blog or a store, if you want to show video, maybe of events that you've run in the past, whatever you need, you can extend your site. And all of those features are free and included with your Wix site. So you don't need to pay extra for anything unless you want to sell something from your site. Or if you want to have your own domain name, you'll probably want to upgrade. But it's totally free to make a site and publish it and try out different features, different templates on your own without having to pay anything. And I'm just going to take you through a few of the features quickly, and then we'll get into designing the site. So for photos, so you can upload your own photos, your own logo, things like that when you're building your site. We also have image galleries and a lot of features to make your photos look great. You can even edit them right within Wix. You can sell products with your logo printed on them, or if you're running a special event, you can quickly get mugs printed that say Best Librarian, whatever you want. So it's a really nice feature too. Again, showcase videos, as I mentioned. If you have events and you want to showcase the videos, perhaps you run webinars and you want an easy way to host them on your site, you can do that. You can also sell things online, maybe not so relevant to you, but it's good to know. There's no commission on that, although that would require a paid plan. You can blog, and this is a really nice way to keep your site up to date. You can update new content. Maybe you want to write about different books that are coming out, or different things that are happening at the library, or maybe you're advising someone else on how to start their blog. And what's really easy to do, having a blog on a website even allows for different members to be able to log in and post their own blog posts. And there's a lot of features there too. I recommend checking that out as well. And you can even have people book appointments, classes, and events online right through your website. So if you wanted to have a one-on-one appointment, if you wanted to host a class, you can have people sign up online. You can manage those registrations, send out emails about the events and things like that. And again, all of this is included. Here's more about our email marketing. And in the session next week, I'll dive more into some of the features for building an email list, making newsletters, and things like that. We also have an app for managing your site on your mobile device. And through that, totally for free, you can send social posts. So it can be helpful. Sometimes it's hard when you're running a business or working, a busy schedule. And you maybe aren't a graphic designer to design posts for social media. So this is kind of a free way to get some templates, type in your text, and post straight to your social media channel. Also, something I'll talk about in the next webinar is search engine optimization. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that. It's okay. Basically, what it is helping Google to find your website. So when someone searches for your library's location, your website will be the first one to come up in Google. And so we have a wizard that makes it really easy to do that. Step-by-step guide that tells you exactly what you need to do to get your site to rank in Google. And I'll explain that more in the next webinar, but this just gives you a little background so you know it's there and you don't have to worry about that. You actually have an integration with Google where in one click, when you publish your site, Google, it gets sent to Google and they know to rank it. So you don't have to worry about being found on Google if you make a website with Wix. And so if you have any questions about any of that, feel free to put it in the chat. Otherwise, I'll keep going. And so I want to talk a little bit about how to approach making a website. So a lot of people think when they're making a website, just go right ahead, make a Wix account, dive into a template, start moving things around, and that's great. It's a great way to get to know Wix as a product. But I recommend when you're really sitting down and starting to make a website, having a little bit of a process. And so I'm just going to take a couple of minutes to highlight how you should approach making a website, and then I'll go dive into the Wix Editor and show you how you can make it a reality. So the first thing that you're going to want to do when you're making a website is define your goals. So why are you making the website? What do you want visitors to do on that site, and how can visitors accomplish those goals? And so this is really important because you don't want to just make a website that looks pretty and isn't really useful to the person that you want to be looking at it. And so if you're talking about making a website for a library, some things that people might want to do on the site is find the library's location. They might want to find out about library events or services. They might want to browse the library's catalog. They might want to be inspired to read a new book or to connect with the local community. So you want to identify what those goals are, and then when you're making the site, you can look for features and design elements that are going to help users accomplish what they're trying to accomplish on your website. So the next thing, once you've defined your goals, you want to gather up all of your content. So the easiest way to make a site is to have all of your images and text and event descriptions, all those things in advance, so you know when you're designing your site what you need to design for and design around. And so some of the things that you might want to collect are your logo, any text about your library, or for someone making a different kind of website, any other text about the business. You would probably also want to include some external links. And so you want to have all of those ready to go. So once you have your goals set, you've got your content all together, then you want to make your sitemap. And so this is a library website example. And basically what this is, it's the way of organizing your content onto pages or sections for when you're designing your site. So you might want to start with an about page, services, and then have some pages nested under that, events, and library catalog. So just one example, if you're making a website, you might have many more pages than this, and it's really helpful to get an idea of how you want to organize them in advance. And so making a sitemap is a good way to start. You can get really creative with also sketching out on paper some ideas of how you want to organize the content on each page. You don't have to do that, but if you're creatively inclined, it can be really helpful as well. So enough about how to approach making your site. Now let's get inspired. I'm going to show you some library websites, and we'll look at some elements of websites. And that way when we get into Wix, I'll explain how you can create those using the Wix Editor. All right, so here's a really great site for the Ann Arbor District Library. And so you can see really bold, black and white layout. They feature their news and events over here. They have this kind of slider of different events that are happening. They've highlighted some important pages here, their location and hours, services, an event calendar. And so, you want to look at different sites for both what the different features and pages are that might be relevant to you, and also what you like about the layout and the style. So I'll just tab through some different pages. This is the Seattle Public Library, kind of different layout with these boxes here. Again, featured events, a link to an event calendar. This one features a full-width image here, which you can also do with Wix, so that when you resize your screen, the image will shrink and grow to the size of your browser, which means if you're looking at the website on a tablet or something like that, it'll work. So something important to keep in mind. Again, this event calendar seems to be really popular with library websites. New York Public Library, kind of a similar thing here. I'll just show you a few more. This one's totally different look, really bold and colorful. So that's something to think about when you're making your site. If you want to do this kind of block layout, there's buttons here, navigation menu on the top. When you scroll, the header stays still and doesn't move with the site. I'll show you how to do that in Wix also. Here's another site, again with a slider, the hours and location, really readily available. I'll just show you one more before we get started diving into Wix. And so again, event list, the slider, lots of different categories for types of content, and drop-down menus, things like that. So now that we've got all of our inspiration together, we can start designing our site with Wix. So if you don't already have a Wix account, it's totally free to sign up. As I mentioned, you can make as many websites as you want, either as drafts, or you can even publish them. And the URL would be wixsite.com/your username. And so I recommend just diving in and playing around with your free account before you even publish. So I'm already signed in. And once you sign into Wix, you're going to get to this screen. And it asks, quite simply, what kind of website do you want to create? And so I'll tell you right now, there aren't any library templates specifically. You have some bookstores. You have a book blog template. So for now, I'm just going to click Other. It doesn't really matter what you select here. There are two different options when you're using Wix. There's ADI, which is Automated Design Intelligence. It lets you answer a few simple questions, and it builds a site for you. Probably not so great for library websites, but if you're advising people on how to make their own websites in some other setting, it can be really helpful for small businesses who just need a really simple website that looks great. They just want to copy and paste their content right in there. So ADI is great for that. But I recommend starting with the Wix Editor. And so to do that, you just click Choose a Template, and you can browse different templates. You can preview any template that you like. Just click View. You can see what it looks like. And you can also preview what it would look like on a mobile device, which is really helpful. You can see that the menu looks a little bit different. And so I'm just going to close this and go back to the templates page. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to actually choose a music template just to showcase that no matter what kind of template you choose, you can change absolutely everything about it. So you can change the text, the images, the layout, whatever you want, just a suggestion. You can even start with a blank template over here, which just gives you a blank slate, and you can just add elements and features and text and images just one at a time and really make it your own. But if you're not a designer, just look through all the different templates, see what fits your personality or your brand for the library, that kind of image that you have, and go from there. So I'm going to start off with this music website. I like it because it's pretty simple, so I can show you a lot of different features on it. And in case you didn't see that, when you hover over any template, you can either view or edit it. So I just went ahead and clicked Edit on this one. And so here you are. This is the Wix Editor. This is where all of the magic happens when you're making a website. I like to call it the canvas, as if you're an artist. So this is where you put all of the elements of design and all of your features. So you'll notice there are these dashed lines on the page. And so everything above this dashed line at the top is your header. And so things that are in this section, and you'll see when I hover over it, it says header. So anything that's in this section, it's going to show up on every page of your website. So it's really useful for things like a navigation menu, which we have over here, social media icons over here. Sometimes these can also go in the footer instead. So I'm actually going to drag those down there. And the footer works the same way as the header. Anything in that section is going to show up on any page. And you can see how easy it is to just drag and drop elements wherever you want them. So I'm just going to drag that here, and I'm going to drag this little copyright notice right over here, which you can edit with the year and your own library name or whatever the business name is for whatever website you're creating. So the next thing that I want to show you is take a little tour of some of the features. Up here on this menu, you have all of the different menus for different things you can do on your site or add to your site. So the first one is menus and pages. And this is where you navigate between different pages on your site. So if you wanted to look at your About page, you can't just click on the menu up here. This is how you would be able to move it around. If you want to actually navigate to a different page, you do that over here. So I'll go back to the home page. You can also notice that if you rearrange pages in here, you'll see that they change in the navigation menu automatically. And you can also nest pages under one another, just like that. And then I'm going to X out of here, and I'm going to preview the site. So when you click preview, I'm going to go back home, and now you'll see when I hover over navigation menu, you have some nested pages here. So this is really great if you're building a site with a lot of pages, which you probably will be. All right, so the next thing I want to highlight is the background menu. I'll show you how to change the background in a few minutes, but you can change the background to color, image, video, whatever you like. You can do it on a per page basis or apply it to all the pages at once with this button down here. This is the add menu. So this is where you can add everything to your site. So every template comes with themed text, and actually all of the different elements have themed versions of them. So you know that the design will be consistent throughout if you're using a template. You can also choose from all different kinds of styles down here. And when you add one to the site, you can just click on it, double click to change the text. Oops, library. You can highlight it, and in this menu you can change the font to whatever you like. Oops, I don't know why that's all caps. There we go. You can change the font size. You can change the color. So it's really versatile and really user-friendly. You can even add special effects like a drop shadow, things like that. So I'm going to delete this, and I'm actually going to go ahead and move some of the elements that are already on the page. I'm just going to drag this up here. I'm going to type Wix Library. And then I'm going to double click on this one. I'm just going to change it to Indiana. So I'll drag that up there. So already we've changed what this website is. We've added the title. And so now I'm going to go ahead and change this image to something relevant to a library. First, now that I have this text selected, I can make the text box a little smaller since the text is shorter now. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the image. You'll notice any image you click on has contextual menu options up here, these little floating buttons that let you do a whole host of different things. So what I want to do right now is change this image. So I'm going to go, and you can upload your own images, whatever you want from your computer. You can even pull in images from social media, or if you have a Dropbox or Google Drive. I'm going to choose a free image from Wix. You have a huge stock library of images that you can use. They can make the web design process a little faster because you don't need to hire a professional photographer to take images for your site. You can just pull from what we have. So I'm going to search for a library. So I'm just going to go ahead. If you hover over the magnifying glass, you can see a bigger image of each of the thumbnails that are here. I'm going to go ahead and choose Teens and Library. And just click Choose Image. So now that's added to the page. And so once you have an image here, you have a lot of different options. You can go into settings. You can make your image link to something if you want. You can change the design. Let's say that you wanted to make it round or add a frame or something like that. I'm going to stick with no frame for now. We even have different effects that you can add. So you don't need to use Photoshop or anything like that if you wanted to make your image black and white, for example. Another cool fact with Wix, almost any element can be animated, and some of them are a little extreme, but others are more subtle. So you might want to play around with this just to add something a little special to your site. And so the next thing that I want to do, so we've changed the homepage a little bit, starting to look more like a library website. So I'm going to go ahead and save. And so what this does is it saves a draft in your account. So I'm going to call it library site. I'm going to click save and continue. So now we have a draft saved, and you can go back to this at any point. If you leave, you can always go back and edit, and it'll be saved. The next thing I'm going to do is preview, so you can get a feel for what the site is going to look like without those grid lines. So now you can see the site here, and I'll go back to the editor. And if you have any questions as I'm going along, feel free to put them in the chat. All right, so I've decided that I actually want to get rid of this image. It's really easy, just hit delete, done, really simple, and instead I'm going to add a background image. So I'm going to go over here to the background image menu. I'm going to choose image. I'm going to go to free from Wix. I'm going to search for books. And I'm going to choose this one. And then I'm just going to click change background. And you can see now how the site has a totally different look and feel to it. And that was really simple, and in just a couple of minutes, it looks totally different, looks like a library site. We're really getting somewhere. The next thing that I'm going to want to do is change the header so that it's a little easier to read these menu options. So I'm just going to click on this area in the dashed lines, and I'm going to click on the paintbrush. And right now it's no color, so I'm going to scroll down. I'm just going to pick any solid color. Then I'm going to go to customize the design. So you can do this with most elements within Wix. You can really customize them to look exactly how you want. So I'm going to change the header so both the middle part and the outside part are white. And this way, it'll really stand out, and you can read these text items even though it's over the image background. Another thing that I'm going to do is under settings, I'm going to click freeze header. And what this will do is when you scroll on the site, I'm just going to go down here and make the page a little longer so that you can really get a feel. If you just click on this handle, you can adjust the page height. I'm going to preview the site, and now when you scroll, that menu is going to stick right there. So I'll go back to the menu. I'm just going to move these things down a little bit so you get a better idea. And so you can see the website's really coming along. It's starting to look like a library site. All right. So the next thing that we're going to do is I'm going to add some pages here. So I'm just going to delete the ones that are here. Really simple. I'll just click on the three dots. I'm going to delete all of these pages. Another really great feature is you can design one page, have it the way that you really like it, and then you can duplicate it. It's a good way to avoid having to redesign every page if you get a format that you like. All right, so almost done here. And now I'm going to add an events page. So you do that by just clicking Add Page right here. You type in what you want to call it, and that's done. Another thing that you can do, and you'll notice it automatically adds right to that navigation menu. Another thing that you can do is link to an external source. So let's say that you wanted to link to the library's collection. You can do that here. The library catalog. So you could put in any web address here. I don't have one, so for now I'm just going to link to, let's see, well, I'll just put in a random link. I'll just link it to Google. You can choose if you want to open it in a new window or the same window. Just click Done. I'm going to name it Catalog. And that's a really easy way to add an external link to your header. I'll just change this so it's not all capital. All right, so I hope everybody's following. So the next thing that I want to show you is how to edit your social media icons. So I went down to the bottom over here, and so I mentioned that you can add these anywhere on the page that you want. So you might want to add these to float on the page. So I already made it so when you scroll, when we preview, the header stays still. So I'm going to go back to the editor, and I'm going to make it so that these social links are going to stay on the side of the page. And so you'll get this alert message. So anything that you put outside of these grid lines on either side of the page might not be seen on mobile devices. But there's a trick to get around that, and I'll show you how to do that. So you can go right into layout. I'm just going to change it to a vertical layout here for these social links. And now I'm liking the way that this looks. So I'm just going to right-click on it or control-click on a map. And I'm going to click Pin to Screen. And then I'm going to set the position right on the side of the screen. And I'm going to offset it about, let's say, 45 pixels. So now when you scroll, I'll preview the site again. And you'll see that those are going to stay stuck there on the side. So whatever other content you might add to this page, they're going to stay there. So people can always access your social media channels. You'll also want to be sure to go in there and set the social link. And a way that you can do this is just click that social link icon. And in here, you can delete any icons that aren't relevant to you by just hovering over, clicking the trash can. So I'm thinking maybe Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram might be relevant ones for you. Let's say you also wanted to add a Twitter icon. So you can go ahead up here to add icons. You can even upload your own. So if you wanted a short link to another free service that the library provides or to the collection, you can even upload your own image and have it linked to whatever you want. I'm going to go ahead and look for a Twitter icon. So you can scroll through this list and just click on it. You could also search for it up here. And then you have a wide variety of icon styles for every platform, so it can fit the design that you're looking for. I'm going to go ahead and choose this one, and I'm going to add it. And you want to make sure that you link it to your personal Twitter page so that it doesn't just link to nothing or the Wix page by default. And then I'm going to click Done. All right, so now we have our website. We've got a nice looking home page. We have our social media links connected. So now I want to add a button. So I added this events page so someone could access it from the navigation menu. But I want to add a button over here so that someone can quickly get to the event. So the way to do that is by clicking on this add menu right over here. And I'm going to go down to button. So as I mentioned, the add menu is where you add all your elements. So your text, your images, gallery, vector art, which is great if you want to add some icons to the site, shapes, if you wanted to add some kind of a special arrow, horizontal divider, that's all in here. Interactive elements like slideshows, and on a lot of those inspiration sites we looked at, a lot of them have slideshows on the home page, so this is where you would do that. I'm going to add a button, but just to go through some more, you can also add boxes, which are great for adding sections of content to your page. Strips, which are sections of your site that come pre-designed all in one, and they stretch to the full width of the page. There's a lot of different ones in here that you can add. Video, as I mentioned, there are video galleries. You could also add a video that you've posted on YouTube or somewhere else. Music, like audio players, social media icons if you wanted to choose some different ones, contact forms, which also includes a map, a get subscribers box to have people sign up for your newsletter, contact forms, as I mentioned. Also, if you wanted to promote an event, you could drag one of these elements onto your page. Menus, so there's some different styles if you don't like the one that comes on your template or starting from scratch. Lists, there are different ways that you can present information. Light boxes, so these are pop-ups that would promote information. You can have light boxes to welcome people to your site, or even to have people subscribe. And what's great about these, you can have them timed. So if someone's on your site for maybe 2 minutes, then maybe something can pop up. Or else you can have them click a button that says subscribe and then have this pop up where they can enter their email address. This is where you can add a blog, a store, etc. So the sky is really the limit. There's a lot of features here. So as I mentioned, I'm going to go ahead and add a button. I'm just going to go ahead and choose this one, just drag it onto the screen, and that goes for any of those elements in the add menu. I'm going to change the text to upcoming events. And then I'm going to link it to our events page. So any element can be linked to a different page. You could also link it to an anchor link, which is a scroll down section of the page. So the way that would work is you would add a marker somewhere on your page, and when you click on it, the page would scroll down to wherever that marker is. As I mentioned before, you can link to an external web address, an email address. You can even upload a document. So let's say you have a brochure or a PDF that you want people to be able to download. You can link a button to that really easily. So I'm going to go to a page, and I'm going to link to our events page. And then I'm going to click Done. So as I mentioned, with any element, you have these different menu options up here. So I'm going to look at the design of this element. So you have a lot of different options, a lot of pre-designed options for if you're not so confident in your own design abilities, you know that these will look great. You can stick with the themed buttons to make sure that you're being consistent with the template that you chose. Or you can customize the design. And I'm just going to go ahead and change this text to something else. I'm going to go with this font here. I'm going to make the font a little bit bigger. And so you have a lot of different options here. You can change the color, borders, corners. You can even add a shadow, and I'm going to do that too. All right. So our site is coming along. Let me know if you have any questions. Excuse me. I have a little cold that I'm getting over here. All right. So we've come pretty far. Now, if we preview our site, this is going to link to our events page. Now, we don't have anything on our events page yet, and I'm going to show you how you can add events to your site. And in the seminar that we're going to have a week from now, I'll go more into organizing and managing your events. But for now, I'll just show you how to add the basics to your site. So I want to change the background. I really only want this background to be on the main page. So on this page, I'm just going to make it a plain color. I'm just going to keep it white. And this way, any elements that we add to the page will be easier to read and see. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go to the app market here. And so you can add most things from this add menu. It's a little bit difficult to put everything in one space. There's a lot here already. So for more advanced features, we don't limit you at all. And you can go to the app market and add apps that are created both by Wix and by third parties. There's a huge variety here that you can browse through. You can even embed HTML if you have something really custom that you want to incorporate. There's a lot of tools for analytics, for contacts, forms, and different things beyond what Wix provides you. I'm going to go ahead and add the Wix Events app. So I'm just going to search for it. It comes up right here, and I'll just select it. Try that again. I'm just going to click Add to Site. So this comes up with a really nicely designed event widget. And this is a great pre-designed way to showcase some of the events that are coming up at your library. And so if you could just click on Manage Events here, this is where you would put in all of your information. And I won't get into all the details here because there's a lot of flexibility. But just so that you know, that's how you would manage that and upload your event descriptions and photos and customize all of that. You can also stretch this widget to be full width. Just click on that, switch this toggle over here, and now whatever screen size someone is looking at your site on, these 3 event widgets are going to stretch to fill the whole screen. And when you're actually using your real events, if you have more events than 3 or less events than 3, you can change the layout. Right now, this is just the pre-filled copy, and images that come with the widget, so you can get a feel for what it'll look like before you add your own thing. But I'm actually going to delete this, and I'm going to show you some other layouts for adding your upcoming events. So if you go to the Add menu, and if you go down into Contact, so I mentioned this before, this is where you have a bunch of different events widgets. So I'm going to go ahead and add this nice list form. Oops, it looks like we're disconnected from the internet. All right, let's keep going. It seems to be okay. So this is another event layout, and it's a really good way. I recommend maybe putting this on your web page, on your home page to really showcase what's coming up next. And so here we go. We've really easily created an events page. We have a home page. We've linked to an external catalog, so the site's really coming along. And so I just want to show one more thing before we wrap up here, and then I'll show you how you would upgrade your site or publish it for free if you don't want to upgrade. So just one more thing that's really important that I want to highlight, and that's the mobile editor. So you always want to make the last thing that you do before you publish your site to edit the mobile view. It's really important because people will, there's like a little explainer here for the first time when you go to do this. I'm just going to skip this for now just so I can show you. And so it's really important to do this because sometimes things show up in weird places. So for example, your upcoming events button is up here in the header. So I just want to drag it down. Usually Wix does a better job of aligning your content. In this case, didn't do such a good job. So I just want to go ahead and rearrange my elements. And anything that you change on the mobile view of your site is not going to affect the desktop view of your site. And so that's really important to note because you can change the text size or even hide an element. And it will still be there on the main desktop version of your site. So for now, I'm just going to leave it like this. Obviously, your website would have more content on it. This is pretty simple, but at least it's looking okay for now. So I'm going to go back to the desktop view. All right, so we've covered a lot. So we've covered how to navigate between pages and your menu over here. We've talked about linking to an external site, adding more pages, deleting them, and nesting them. And we've talked about changing your background, adding different elements, adding apps for third-party extensions. We've got a button here. So we've done a lot. Keep in mind that you can be really free to experiment because anything that you do, you can always just undo really easily. And you have unlimited undo. So you can do a lot of steps, and if you hate it, you can always go back. Wix also will auto-save your site as you go. So whenever you manually click on the Save button, it saves the copy so that you can go back to your site history and edit it again. So if you go up here over to Site, again, you have your Save Preview options, but you also have your site history. So don't worry about making any mistakes. You can always go back in time and revert to an earlier version of your site. This is also where you can get found on Google and access some other different options that you can peruse on your own. Not vital for when you're first starting to play around with Wix and make your site. Another thing I wanted to highlight is Wix code. So if you do know how to code, you can add advanced interactions using JavaScript. This is where you would do that. For most people, not necessary to be able to code at all. As I showed you, you can add all these advanced features that are built right in, but you don't need to know how to do that. Help. So anytime that you're lost, we have a robust help and support directory. So everything from videos to articles whatever you need, you can find it. And even specific elements usually have a little question mark help icon too if you get stuck. And then this is where you would upgrade your site. So I'm not going to do that now. I'm just going to show you how to publish a free site. So over in this right corner, click Publish. The site is now live on the web. Any one of you can go to this URL here. I'm going to click View Site. And that's it. It's published. It's a real website. It's not a great website, but it works. You can, go to the events page, go back home, access social media over here. That's it. It's live. Is anyone going to find this website? Probably not, because we haven't optimized it for search engines and submitted it to Google, and there's no content on here for Google to read and find anyway. So unless someone had this URL, probably not going to find the site. However, if you do go through, add the content, submit it to Google, then people will likely be able to find the site, even as a free site, and find your information. And again, if you give people this URL, put it on your website, they'll be able to find your site, and it's live and a real website. So a couple of things about free websites. Everything works fine. You won't be able to sell anything on your site, but probably not super relevant for you. It will have this banner ad up here, but other than that, it looks just like a normal website. And so if you upgrade, you can get rid of this banner ad, and you can change the domain name to whatever you want, like yourlibrary.com, or for a business, yourbusinessname.com. All right, so that's pretty much it that I want to show you here. I'm just going to really quickly show you another site that I designed, in just a few minutes using Wix. You can see on this homepage, I have a fully stretched image. We've got a menu here with some relevant links for my Wix library, some different pages, a button here, very similar. I've highlighted some events by just adding boxes and grouping together elements on the page. I've added that events widget here to highlight some upcoming things. And I've added a map. And then down here in the footer, I've added the library hours and address, which is obviously a fake address. So you can really do a lot with this tool. Really blank canvas, sky's the limit for making your website. And I think that's it. If you would like to ask any questions, I can dive in and answer.
Looks like, Stacey, we've got one from Carolyn on the chat box. Are you able to see that?
Oh, yeah. So will there be a link to the screenshot? So I can, I'm not sure how the best way for this to go would be, but I can send a PDF of my presentation and put the links in there. So that might be helpful for you.
Okay, so you could send it to me, to Paula, and then I can send it out to everybody as well after we get the recording as well.
Perfect. Is there a way for users to search the site or see a sitemap? Yes. So I'm going to go back into the editor here. So there are different apps that are more related to sitemaps and things like that. But to add a search, you can go into the app market and just type search. And there are a few different site search options in here. And I recommend most of them are third-party created, so you might want to look around and see what the features are. A lot of them are free or premium. I'm just going to go ahead and choose this one. And you can see you get a little search bar that you can put right in here. Now it's on the header, so now anyone, if you go to preview, anyone can just type in here and search your site. And so there's no content really on the site yet, so it's just giving some examples. But it would, search your site and find any relevant pages and show them here. Any other questions?
I have a question, Ms. Paula. For the third-party extensions and the apps, do you guys go through and approve people? How well do they work? You see what I'm trying to ask? Do they work well with each
Yeah,
other and
that's
your
a great
site?
question. Yeah, so all of the apps that are in the app market have to be approved. They won't break your site. They're all secure. Every single one of them is vetted by Wix. Some of them are older than others, so some of them might have like a more modern design or things like that, so it's worth looking through. And like I mentioned, they all have different, features and free and premium features, so it's worth, playing around with them. Some of them that are even third-party apps have partnerships that when you buy premium upgrades, like Site Booster, for example, is included when you upgrade to certain premium plans. So yeah, we work really closely with all the vendors who are creating the app. And of course, we also have the Wix apps in here. And so I believe if you scroll down here, you can view all the ones that are made by Wix specifically, like forum and chat and things like that. And you know that those will be the most up to date and will constantly be updated. So while the other ones are all secure, these are the ones that Wix is actually working on.
Okay, great. Thanks. Looks like we've got another question from Kelly.
The upgrade, so are we going to talk about the upgrade options in the next webinar? I can actually talk about them today. I'm just going to go on upgrade and go to compare plans. So these are the different plans that you can use. Most people go with this unlimited plan. It gives the best value. Really affordable, $14 a month, and it's frequently 50% off sales. We also have, a lesser plan, the combo plan, which I would say is the minimum plan that you should do because it removes that Wix banner ad, and you can connect your domain. So I'd say either one of these plans would be a good way to go. So how does this work with, I lost the question, something about connecting what's provided by the state. So yeah, you'd have to link to the external database. It doesn't integrate directly.
Yeah, with the Connect IN state, you have to use WordPress, so it's not connected to Wix. I was just hoping to show another option that people might use. Okay, I think we've got like 3 minutes left. We're probably going to have to wrap it up at this point. We could always, if I can send you, Stacey's okay if I send out your email if they have other questions, or they could send it to me to send you?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can reach out to me, Stacey@wix.com, and I'll be happy to answer any more questions that you have.
Okay, I guess we have one other question at the end. When you make the heading and you have it on the picture, how do you blend it into the background and not have a white background, for instance? Or maybe that's something I can actually copy the chat and we can send questions back to Stacey and she could answer.
I think that's I'm not 100% sure how to explain that, so maybe we can take that offline and I'll answer that later.
Okay. Well, this is Paula again. I'm going to say thank you very much for being with us today, and also to Stacey. Again, make sure if you want to sign up for next week's webinar. I'm going to go share the LEU form. So again, like I said, I'll copy the chat and I will get your questions answered shortly. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, and I'll just add really quickly, so next time we'll dive more into the, can you hear me?
Yes.
I'll just add, we'll go over the events options, connecting with different external sites, search engine optimization, and email marketing. So tune in for that, and I look forward to seeing you again.
All right, thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.